Hello, deconverted man here. I am super disappointed in the atheist experience. I usually enjoy their show. I think that they do a good job, getting atheism out there into the public eye and showing that, regular people are atheists and all that. But I think they failed here in covering the Catholic school, Covington Catholic school kids, and the protest and everything else that happened there. Seems like they were basing a lot of what they were saying off of interviews with the Native American guy Nathan Phillips himself. I, I I'm just gonna say it outright. I wouldn't trust this guy to, you know, further than I could throw a rock. I wouldn't trust him, period. He's a known activist. Okay. That's the first giant red flag. So whatever he says is going to be suspect because he's a known activist. And I don't want to poison the well or add hominem him because it doesn't, just because I'm skeptical more, I'm going to put a little bit more skepticism towards things he says. I'll put it that way, okay? Because of what I know about him and have seen him done. He has claimed racism in other instances. And so he's a known activist, which is fine. It's fine to be an activist. You're retired, go do that, whatever. There was two events happening at the same time, and that's kind of weird, but I guess it happens. There was a protest, and then there was um, the Native American march. Like both things were happening at the same time, and the kids that were there from the Catholic school were doing that for their school, for their reasons, promoting what they want to promote. And the black Israel Hebrew, what do you call them? The Hebrewites were taunting the boys and goading at them. And if you watch the full video, they kind of like, I don't want to say they direct the Native American guy at them, but they certainly are cheering him on to go towards them. Now, if he was actually trying to separate these groups, he would have stayed in the middle, but he didn't do that. He went towards the kids. He didn't go towards the black Hebrewites. He went towards the kids, and then he says he did it to pray. Well, that's the part I'm pretty skeptical about. I don't know that he did do it to pray, and I don't know what prayer requires you to drum in somebody's ear. I've never heard of that prayer before. Maybe he can show us where in the where in his tribe it's a ritual to drum in the kid's ear at close range. If you're really praying, I would think that you know if you're going to pray that that the two people are separated, then stay in the middle and drum your drum there. But that's not what happened. He went over to the kids. Didn't go over to the Hebrew guys, that were taunting the kids to tell them off and say, hey, look, you're adults, or just drum in their faces. No, he went over to the kids to drum at them. So they didn't cover that. They didn't cover the full thing. And the full video is up. You can go watch the whole thing. Media has been reporting this completely incorrectly, left, right, up, and down, in every which way. People have been cherry picking the story. They've been doxing the kids. Whether you agree or don't agree with the kids is irrelevant to the fact that you should not support doxing them. That's not okay. You should dox anyone. Not the right way to go about things, and it is simply wrong. The kids are getting death threats. It's nonsense. And then Mr. Phillips is being held up as some sort of hero when he's not. He went up to the kids who were doing their own thing, minding their own business, until he did that. Then once challenged, they're gonna respond to that challenge. Of course they are. Now, they didn't do anything physical like getting up in his face. He got up in one kid's face, drummed his drum right into the poor kid's ear, and basically, from my perspective, taunted them with this until they had to leave, or until they decided to leave, or whatever the thing was. So why didn't he go up to why didn't he go after the Israelites who were there making the racial remarks, egging on the kids, saying the horrible things that they were saying? Well, because I don't know reasons. I mean, you don't go after the adults, go after the kids, of course, because that's what a peaceful prayer requires you to do, is go pray at the kids, not at the ones that instigated the issue in the first place. So don't hold up Mr. Phillips as a hero. That's mistake one that I think the Atheist Experience did here. The other mistake is not covering the full story. And you can have your opinions one way or the other, that's fine, but just cover the whole damn thing and then have your opinions. And they didn't do that. They just had their opinion based on what he said. Oh, he said he was praying. So, I mean, obviously that's what he was doing. No, I doubt that he was praying. But, if that's what he said, well, I don't know. He could be lying. He could be telling the truth. Who knows? Doesn't matter. What he did is what matters. And what he did was go up to them. That's instigating something. That's starting something. That's not being peaceful. That's not being spiritual. And he stood in the middle of them, maybe his hands outstretched, one side here, one side to the other side, and chanted a chant, or said something in English like peace to you all, or if he wanted to beat his drum in the center, and just make sure that they stayed on the other side of the road or whatever. That would have been okay. I could have commended that. If he'd gone up and stood up to the Hebrew Israelite guys, who, by the way, they believed that Jesus was actually black. It's a really weird thing, but there's some verse in the Bible like Jesus had fuzzy hair, frizzy hair. So, well, blacks have frizzy hair, so he's black. Like, I mean, like black, not like swarthy, not Jewish, but black, because reasons, and that matters. Whatever, I don't care. So, and then they're they kind of use that to be a pride thing about color and all that. And so I would strongly suspect that if you were not black, you'd have or dark, that you'd have a hard time entering a Israelite church. Maybe, just maybe, but they were the instigators. So had he stood up to them, I would have cheered him on as the hero. He did not do that. Atheist Experience did not cover this correctly, in my view, and I call it a fail, and I'm very disappointed in them. I saw on Twitter Matt Dillahunty following and liking stories about this incident. So maybe he didn't get the memo to them in time. I don't know, because he's kind of on his own thing. Like, I don't know how much connected he is with the Atheist Experience anymore. But I expected a lot more from especially Tracy Harris, and I don't know who the other host is, but just as a whole, I really expect more, and I'm very, very irritated and saddened by how they dropped the ball on this. So, yeah, Jews are known for their frizzy hair. Yeah, but obviously, I mean, he's black, because whatever. And also, of course, now see, Adam and Eve they were black. I mean, that, if they existed at all, they would have been black. So that one's fine. But by the time Jesus showed up, he would have been dark, but more swarthy, like in between somewhere. Not sure what the Jewish color that is. I don't know. But yeah, this Covington situation thing has been covered to death. What's troubling to me is people are doubling down on celebrating the Native American as some sort of peace bringer or as the victim or whatever. No, no, he was the instigator, and he didn't go after the ones that were starting to chant at the kids at all. So it's like a bunch of big bikers are like, "Hey, you guys, we're gonna fight you," and and then this guy comes along doing his own thing, beating a drum. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna go fight them? Well, instead of that, I'm gonna go beat this drum in their ear." Oh, okay, that's fine. As long as you're harassing them, we don't need to fight them now. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you brought peace in the weirdest possible way, I suppose. I don't know if I'd call that heroic, but okay. So that's kind of the analogy what I would make. But anyways, um, um, so yeah, I'm just very, very, it was a clip from the Atheist experience that they uploaded to their channel. It's 3 minutes and 44 seconds long. Um, and they, like I said, I think that the two fronts they failed on is not covering the story in full and then giving their opinion based on that. And so because of that, their opinion is not going to be well informed. So I just, I expect better and demand better. I'm very, very saddened. And I hope, beyond hope, that Matt Dillahunty will have something to say about this in a video at some point, because this might be the thing that finally gets people to figure out that the news is not doing its job, or maybe they are doing its job, and the job is to fool us into caring about what they say or something. I don't know. But, with the cherry picking of this video and people jumping on it really early and bandwagoning it, using bad logic, using cherry picking, using ad hoc reasoning, poisoning the well, etc. Uh, because they're so desperate, I guess, to get a click or to get noticed. And then there's also the social element where, well, they'll gain points with certain people on the in certain groups because reasons. Like I think Whoopi Goldberg on The View said something like, we were so quick to attack these kids because they're associated with Trump and we want to get rid of Trump at all costs. And so it's like, wow, that's, yeah, I don't know exactly, it's not verbatim, by the way, but she said something like that. I was like, wow, she actually said something true. They're so desperate to get rid of their political enemy. And by the way, there's no way to do that except for the legal system. And you'd have to prove nefarious dealings of some sort. So it doesn't matter what sort of dirt you dish on the president. It's not going to get them out of office unless you can prove that they did something illegal or whatever. Um, so yeah, but it is, and I've seen many videos of people with the MAGA hat being attacked and yelled at and screamed at and told to leave the restaurant, whatever. It's just really not a good thing. And of course, it's a very small minority, to be fair, because you have to realize that the amount of people that are out there is some big number, and you're only seeing the times when something happened. You're not seeing all the times where nothing happened, because putting up a video with just you walking around in a "Make America Great Again" hat and nothing happening isn't a very interesting video. It's not going to get shared. It's not going to get liked. It's not going to get attention. So we have to be cautious about our data collection process and realize that, we're going to only get some of the story. Um, but again, Nathan Phillips is an activist. Even Wiki has gotten the whole story wrong, but somebody can fix that, I guess. There was also another misquote regarding Nathan Phillips. Now, this is actually on a positive side rather than a negative side. that he's misquoted as saying that he was in the Vietnam War or something like that, but actually he said that he was in the military during the Vietnam times or Vietnam era, not that he was in Vietnam, but he said that he's a veteran of that era. So that is kind of a weird way to phrase it, and I can understand how you could possibly get that out of context. But of course, if you're a diligent news source, you don't want to do that because then people are going to say he lied about his service, and that's a big no-no to do. You know, false valor's big no-no. But he did serve in the military, and he didn't go to Vietnam. He did, I don't know what he did, but he was there during that time. So it is a misquote that some news outlets ran with, and thus are making it, because in their rush to run with it, not only did they get facts wrong about the whole story, but they also got facts wrong about their so-called hero. And then people are saying, "Oh, well, he claimed he was in the Vietnam War. He wasn't in the Vietnam War, so he's, you know." And it's like, no, 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 they got that wrong on top of everything else. So just be skeptical of everything. You just don't believe anything at this point. Don't believe anything. Don't believe the words that I'm saying right now. Just look up everything, and then also don't believe the things that you look up, because you can't trust anything. Okay, the existential void crisis is past. Um, yeah, a lot of people have been talking about this on Twitter, on YouTube. I already talked about it with just the logic. I didn't expect to be covering it again, but I watched the Atheist Experience clip. Irritated me, frustrated me, it upset me. I was disappointed, so I was like, I got to make a thing about this. So that's what you just watched or stepped into if you were in the chat during the time that I was saying these words up. Okay, so thanks for everybody for checking this out, listening, commenting in chat. Hi to everybody that's in chat. You know, we'll set up a thing. We'll have a hangout. Not today, some other day. You know, where we can all talk and do stuff and play with lobsters or whatever. Because this stuff, it just hurts my brain. Yeah. Anyways, so that's it. Let's just do Finn, and you know, link to the thing is the thing in the bottom of the thing, and I'm gonna hit the button now. I'm not gonna say thing.